Okay, so we'll just get started. So thank you so much, and thank you so much, Vishal and NDST for inviting us again. This is the third time.
Yeah.
So feedback thoda acha aaya tha, दूसरी बार उनको invite मिला है. But thank you so much. We'll make it super fun. How many of you have been to eChai events before, or this is your first? This is your first time for most of the people.
Yes.
So we can correct the previous jokes that we correct last time. Okay. How many of you are from Ahmedabad? Okay. How many of you are running something on your own at this point in time? You already have a startup or something?
I have an idea.
You have an idea. Okay. Who else has an idea?
Family business.
Okay. Awesome. How many of you already are part of some committee, or not? This is your early days at NBS, but previously, when whichever stream that you were studying in, you were part of some committees. You were part of some extracurricular activities.
Yes.
Was there a president of some student council? How many of you were there? Okay. How many of you feel that 5 years, 10 years down the line, you may start on your own? Not immediately, but आगे जाके शायद तो start कुछ करोगे आप. Okay. Now a rhetorical question. How many of you are lazy? Okay. इससे दोनों साइड से लगता है जो हैंडल नहीं करे वो भी lazy है, जो accept करे वो भी lazy है. Okay. But I'm Jatin. I'm one of the co-founder of eChai. We started this 16 years back in Ahmedabad. So our journey is a two-part journey. For the first 8-9 years, eChai was just in Ahmedabad. But something happened in 2017-18, and we kind of were everywhere. So now we host these startup meetups that we host across the world. We have incense carrot, a very small niche thing that we do. Any city you happen to travel to, there are very high chances you will find a similar experience. And that happens because we are amazing friends who, when I invite them, they accept my invitation to commit their time and share their experiences. So the format for today's discussion is that we have amazing founders who scaled up massively. We'll learn from their experiences. So there are several questions that I'll keep on asking them. And then, but the idea of all of us joining here is to have all of you ask questions. Anything that you want to ask about their journey, the industry they are focused on, or how their career has evolved as a whole. They're very diverse set of businesses that they run. We'll just get started. So every time I'll ask them to introduce, we'll give them a huge round of applause. We'll start with Tanisha first. Tanisha.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, so I am Tanisha. I'm founder at Protouch. I run India's fastest growing and very first consumer appliances brand that is focused on personal care as a category. Prior to this, I was a core team member with one of the most loved men's grooming brand of India, followed by a perfume brand, again started by a celebrity co-founder, most loved and got acquired. Then a member of a core team member at a color cosmetic brand. So very diverse understanding of how BPC is working and how India is evolving in terms of its consumption in electronics and beauty both. I'd be happy to share some of my experiences how the journey evolved over the period of time as the conversation flows. Thank you so much.
Okay. I ask question. MBA students, what आपने क्या पढ़ाई करी?
So I am commerce graduate, but I was pursuing my CA, which I did not finish, and I was doing my MBA, but I started working, so I did not finish that.
Okay, awesome, brilliant. Abhishek,
All right, I am Abhishek, founder of CricHeroes. As the name suggests, we are in business of making cricketers heroes. It is world's largest grassroots cricket platform. We have more than 40 million registered users, and we are present in more than 100 countries. Before CricHeroes, I used to run a company called DigiCorp, which was into software design and development. And before that, I did my engineering from Nirma Institute. So by trade, I'm a computer engineer, and after that, started a couple of ventures.
awesome. Abhishek was my senior in Nirma.
Yes, just 1 year senior to Jatin. Yes.
हाँ पर मैं डिटेन हो गया वो बोले
इसीलिए देखा नहीं कॉलेज में
वो ना वो पास आउट आया वो तो barely पास आउट यस जैनम कोई एक तो रैंकर होना चाहिए अपने जैनम आई हैव वेरी हाई होप्स फ्रॉम यू
Hi, good morning everyone. So good to see everyone. My name is Jainam. I lead a company called Oizom. Non-tech guy running a tech company. We do air quality monitoring. All this AQI that you see in your mobile phones, all the temperature and all of those things that you see, that come from the units that we make. We make and deploy these stations all across the world. Currently we operate in about 70 countries globally. What started as an idea of let's do something for the environment over, just a discussion with Leonardo DiCaprio, surprisingly, is a big inspiration at Oizom. So, simple conversation with Leonardo DiCaprio, a guy moved from Bollywood, getting into the business of doing air quality monitoring. So, that is my story. My first job, in fact, came during one of such sessions. I remember I had attended an eChai marketing event, and that's how I got into the whole entrepreneurial sides, met a lot of startup founders, joined a startup, worked there for a bit, tried corporate, didn't work out eventually. Realized I'll have to do something of my own, and it's been a decade now at Oizom, and we're trying to make the world environment understandable and predictable one day at a time. So my education, I did parts and pieces. So degree officially तो मेरे पास सिर्फ BCom की है.
Okay.
But then
That's
I've been very fortunate enough that I was able to finish my executive education from IIM Ahmedabad last year, and prior to that I was also nominated from India to be a part of the global GP, the global entrepreneurship program based out of Norway. So that added a little bit of not official degree but a lot of experience and learnings from that.
पढ़ाई अच्छी तरह से नहीं होती कितनी मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. Yes. एक तो MBA मुझे पता है, नदीम भाई is a MBA.
Yeah. So, a very good morning. My name is Nadeem Jafri. I am founder of a company called Hearty, which I founded in the year 2004. So it is a journey of 21 years. Professionally, academically, I am MBA Marketing from IMS Indore. Not IMS Indore. This I have to clarify. Devi Alien University. I started Hearty Mart as a supermarket in Juapura, which was considered to be a not business-friendly area. From there, we went to a rural part of Gujarat, empowering rural retail entrepreneurs by providing our franchisees. So there is a network of 12 franchises now. Apart from this, we are into production of spices, and we cater to close to 1,500 plus restaurants across Gujarat, Maharashtra and Rajasthan, and we are exporter of spices. We have our own office in Dubai, and Dubai may, if you want to set up your business, we have our own consultancy firm called Hearty Mart Biz Hub. Thank you.
Yes, Vikram, about you.
Yes, hi everyone. I am Vikram. By profession, by education, I am an engineer. Or again, not a topper backbencher per se. Sorry to disappoint, but nobody is a topper here. I run a company called DocVita. We are into mental health, and we have our in-person center in Bangalore, and we serve Indians living all across the globe for online consultations when it comes to mental health in all age groups, from children to geriatric population. Everyone is covered. Right? But
Awesome.
yeah.
And you are part of IC also.
Yes, so we went through YC in 2020, and I have been in entrepreneurship journey since last 10 years, started in third year of my college. So I would encourage a couple of you as well to start in college. It's a fun time to begin. You have a lot of friends around as well to help you out and build stuff. So my co-founder is from my own college, and I've built 4 to 5 different products so far. Everything is running in the industry, so we'll talk more about it.
Okay, awesome. I'll start with a few questions that I'll ask them, so open up the discussion, and any question that you may want to ask them. So since it's an induction program for them, so अभी तो they can conquer the world वैसा थॉट आता है फिर होता है पास हो जाए तो अच्छी बात है तो so when you studied, right? So what was that you learned while you were studying जो आज भी entrepreneurship life में help कर रहा है, or what did you do in college life जो आज भी help कर रहा है?
Fair. So okay, good. पहले तो जतिन भाई पढ़ाई नहीं की है लास्ट डे पे पढ़े हैं, बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट सो आई वाज वेरी वेरी एक्टिव इन टर्म्स ऑफ कॉलेज के कैंपस के जितने इवेंट्स हुए, फ्रॉम एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप प्रोग्राम्स टू कल्चरल प्रोग्राम्स टू एवरीथिंग एल्स, लाइक ऑलवेज ऑन पॉइंट. बाहर जाओ, सीखो, बात करो लोगों से. तो स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम सेल्स, मार्केटिंग, बात कैसे करने कुछ नहीं आता. लाइक आई वाज पासिंग आउट ऑफ कॉलेज, तो स्कूल में तो कुछ आता नहीं है, और उसके बाद जस्ट ट्राई टू एक्सपोज योरसेल्फ एज मच एज पॉसिबल, और वही सारी चीज़ें अभी भी हेल्प करती है.
Okay. Nadeem bhai, it was a long time back.
So
But क्या चीज़ आज भी हेल्प करेगी?
नहीं, हेल्प तो ये कर रहा है कि मैं जब कॉलेज में था तो मैं आई वाज वेरी क्लूलेस बिकॉज दिस वाज अ टाइम व्हेन देयर वाज नो इंटरनेट आल्सो, राइट, नो सोशल मीडिया, नथिंग, सो access to information was not there, and there were only libraries which I hardly visited. The only thing which I have learned is that what I should not do, which I used to do in college, because that is the great learning which has helped me pull through in my journey post college.
Okay, awesome. Jainam?
I think one of the most important things that I learned in college, followed till date, is you will have to be outspoken. See, as your nature, you can be an introverted person, you don't like that. But if you want to be out there, you will have to be an extrovert, you will have to talk to people, interact with as many people as possible, because I could be doing something great, but if I don't tell the world, no one's going to know about it, right? So I think the biggest thing that I learned from college was, of course, be an extrovert. And when I was in my first year is when 3 Idiots released. And there was this very funny dialogue in the movie saying that ज्ञान हर जगह से मिल रहा है, कहीं से भी लूट लो. And I used to do that. So I was in LJ, right? BCom, the least favored branch. Nobody even looks at the BCom building, right? But the advantage of LJ was you could go and sit in any class for non-curricular things. So I would sit how to participate in group discussions. For the MBA students, I would just go and pop up that. Nobody asked me. I think 200 लोगों में एक कोई दिखता भी नहीं है. So I used to, of course, I didn't used to do that for group discussions. I used to do it for other reasons. But I think eventually that helped me realize so many different aspects on engineering. Maybe मैं बैठा हूँ pharmacy में भी मैंने एक session attend किया है. कोई भी seminar होता था, I would just show up, just for the sake that चल क्या रहा है. So don't let that curiosity die. You know, as Jatin bhai said, right now है ना कि भाई मैं तो दुनिया फोड़ लूँगा. You will, but just don't let that curiosity lie. Because when I was there, I used to get the same thing. कि भाई 5 साल रुक जा. This enthusiasm will die. Don't let that enthusiasm die and be an extrovert. I think those are the 2 things from me.
Okay, awesome. These are nice. पढ़ाई वाला काम किसी ने नहीं किया. So you don't want to give a wrong message, right? Understanding core fundamentals are very important.
Yeah, so no, just like Vikram, my co-founder is also my college mate. We were also in school together. So long story of being together. So definitely that is one thing which I have got from my college friends, who are like not just friends but also business partners now for life. So that is one thing. If you can get it, nothing like it. Second thing is, I think because of engineering college, I think the ability to figure it out was something which I think I can cherish for my entire life. And even today, in running a company, there are a lot of things when we simply ask, tell ourselves that okay, like we don't know, but we'll figure it out, right? So, for example, assignment बाकी है, कल देने का है, आज we'll figure it out. Exam कल है, पढ़ाई बाकी है, we'll figure it out, right? So, like I think that attitude which you develop in any college, I believe that attitude should help you in your life everywhere.
Okay, awesome.
So I'd like to add on to what Jainam also said, that be curious. I was a chatty student. I would go and talk to everybody and ask any question that I would have on my head, like even if it would be irrelevant sometimes. But I would always go and ask the question that I would have, within. Also, the ability of being consistent at something that you pick in your hand. ठीक है, अभी we would take a project or we would take an initiative, we would do for a week, 2 weeks time, 10 days time, and then we will not see as much of the participants as we want, because it's college, people have their own priorities, and we would never walk towards the closure. But it is very important to be consistent and get a closure on what you start, and just be at it until it's done. Maybe 100% on some days, maybe 10% on some days, or even 2% on one day. That's okay. But be consistent, and that quality will build up eventually in molding a successful career for your own self.
Okay, awesome. मेरा ऐसा स्टोरी है कि I also studied from Nirma, but I used to struggle. पर मैं क्रिकेट, मुझे ऐसा लगता है मैं क्रिकेट बहुत अच्छा खेलता हूँ. तो पहले मेरे को टीम में नहीं लेते थे, वो फील्डिंग के लिए लेते थे कि ये बंदा दौड़ता बहुत है. फिर 2-3 साल के बाद मैं लीडर बन गया था. It's the thought I picked it up. That once you get a foot in the door, पहले को तो it is very difficult to get a foot in the door. Once you are there, given enough time, you can become a leader. जैसा मेरा eChai में भी हो रहा है. पहले मेरे को साइड वाली जगह देते थे लोग कि चलो इनके यहाँ भीड़ आती है, अभी मेन जगह देते हैं कि what are the, you have interesting ideas, so why can't you do something? But that is something that I picked it up from my journey. I have one more round and then we'll open for questions for everyone. We are here in the entrepreneurship journey. So, एक क्या होता है कि lot of some of them also mentioned that that they already have an idea or ideas आते हैं आजकल और thanks to social media you have abundance of information that how to start a company, what are the opportunities. So when you started your idea, so action नहीं ले पाते लोग. So when you wanted to start, when you figured out that ये business ये हमको start करना है, what happened? आपने क्या किया? दो दोस्तों को फोन किया, 10 लोग खुद के पैसे इन्वेस्ट किए. And what was the action point you decided once you decided that I want to start? और क्या हुआ first 3-4 महीनों में? Tanisha.
So, see, I was in beauty category, and when I started this business, I was in beauty category for almost 8 years. So, I was very closely connected with what is happening in the segment in India and globally. So, I always knew that I will do beauty because ये मुझे आता है. But that is not enough to start a business. That is good to think. Okay. You also need a good understanding of the market and what are your core values of the business. To give you a simple example, if we go back 10 years, there was one serum, one shampoo, one hair oil. All of us would have seen that in our house. Go back today and see the number of bottles you would have in the house. So I could have easily become a brand who is selling one other serum and never scaling. So what was the differentiation factor? What innovation I was bringing? And what was the size of problem that I was going to address? Because what happens, so when you want to start a business, sometimes we tend to force a solution to a non-existent problem. So that is not a good approach. So understand what you are good at, what you are having fun with. I love beauty as a category. I love consumer as a segment. I love to talk to my consumer. So that was a clear category definition point for me. Now what product? Everything was coming to the India. From gold to groceries, everything was becoming technology. But you take a look at the category you are into, which is beauty, it is still the same old 30 minutes, 10 products regime. So there was no innovation. So my second cue was that, okay, innovation missing hai, India mein innovation karenge. And 3, I know early stage पे किसी का damn sam कुछ clear नहीं होता है, category size किसी को नहीं पता होता है. When I was going for my first investment meeting, I understood कि okay, now I'll have to define a TAM. But थोड़ा बहुत एक basic understanding कि क्या trend चल रहा है, what is the new wave of the customer that they are looking for. That basic understanding is needed, which you can easily get from internet and of course from ChatGPT also now. So understand what you are good at, what you are having fun with. B, what and how you can do and improve your customer's life. And C for me was the size of the category which I can grow a long-term business.
Okay, awesome. Abhishek, you were already running DigiCorp. So
Right.
CricHeroes वाले time पे कैसे transition की? And what was
From DigiCorp to CricHeroes, yeah. So when we started DigiCorp back in 2004, we started almost right out of college. So I convinced 3 of my classmates to join and start this company. जो हमारे लिए, like we had just one project at that time, and it was just an inquiry from one of the family members, and that kind of pushed us into starting a company. And then one thing led to another, and we could scale DigiCorp to a meaningful level. But over the period of time, DigiCorp was a services firm, right? So whatever we used to build for our clients, right? So products बहुत सारे हमने बनाए. Some of those products are also very successful today. But like वो जो ultimate satisfaction मिलना चाहिए of growing your product, taking it to the market, hearing the feedback of customers, and then scaling it, वो नहीं मिलता था because you are a service provider. You do not have a control after some point of time on what you build. So that was one aspect which I felt personally that was missing from my journey. I always wanted to create something of our own, have our own IP, and specifically I was extremely fascinated in the B2C segment, right? So I closely monitored the journey of Facebook, which started in 2004, Twitter, which started somewhere in 2005-06, right? So I was highly impressed by Silicon Valley based startups and how they could scale to such a huge scale in such a short time. So like मुझे हमेशा ऐसा था कि यार इंडिया में से भी ऐसा कुछ बनना चाहिए. And that was the kind of a motivating factor for me. So that's what actually pushed me to come up with an idea and like start working on those ideas.
Yes, you continue.
Alright, yeah. So basically, then at one point of time, I decided, Jatin, to answer your question, that like ये सब side में projects करने से मजा नहीं आएगा because we tried our hands on multiple projects but could not scale any of them to meaningful level. So, like at one point of time, I decided that okay, I need to come out of DigiCorp's day-to-day role because अगर मैं वो business चलाऊंगा तो नया business चालू नहीं कर पाऊंगा. So I came out of it, started working on few ideas, and CricHeroes was like one of the ideas which came during that time. So that's how the transition from DigiCorp to CricHeroes happened.
Okay. Jainam, in your case, Oizom was already there. Then you became part of the team and eventually became a. So how did that happen? The early days.
Yeah, so I think this was 2015, early 15, right? And the idea was, my co-founders, Sohil, Ankit, Kushan, they were very keen on that we want to make a product that's focused on a natural resource. Air, water, soil are the three natural resources, right? Water in India is already a saturated market. हर किसी के घर पे RO है. We understand water is a problem. अगर पानी गंदा है, you will be able to see it very clearly. Soil, it was still a very nascent market back then. But air was something that was affecting everybody. So from, you could make $1 million, you could make 10 rupees a month, doesn't matter, all of us are breathing the same air. So that was a very interesting thing. So where I came into the picture was they wanted somebody who is looking at this from a 100% business perspective or from a sales and business perspective, and that is where Ankit and I happened to meet at a Costa in Bombay and worked out. So what did I do, or where did I take that from a business point of view where I can add value? So marketing, all of you are going to study this. It's the most important chapter if you are going to study market research. Do not ignore. It is the most boring chapter. Sampling, सब एकदम ये sample size का ये example. But it is the most important thing. If you want to do something in the future, that chapter is going to be very important. First step is market research. I did extensive market research, and that is when I realized shockingly that back then in 2015, India, the total number of air quality stations in our country was 284. Beijing had 550. That was the massive data vacuum that was out there. And that is what intrigued us. So we did what all of us would do, right? We started talking to people. We started talking, who do you speak to? Universities, IITs, NITs, talk to municipal corporations ki kya ho raha hai. And we are very fortunate, I mean, special thanks to Dr. Thara. She was the municipal commissioner here, and she was very uplifting about it. She's like, yes, if you guys want to do something, why don't you do something? Install 10 units for Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, and we'll see how we can help you out. We didn't even have a company. She's like, check my naam par lakhwana hai. We had no idea because we were not very certain that you go to meet a municipal commissioner. She's like, yeah, I'll write you a check. But that was a very enlightening moment for us that to solve any complex problem, you will need data. So the idea was to bridge that data vacuum, and our idea was very simple from that day, that we want to build something that's going to bridge that gap of accurate data in the market. What I did in the first 6 months was nothing related to sales because we were still building a product. In our case, hardware was very the hardware has to be built, the R&D and all of that. But I was not sitting idle. What do you need if you want to do a startup? You need exposure, you need money, right? The first 6 months, I relentlessly just applied for every startup event, program, accelerator program that is out there in the world. There is not a single startup program that I've not applied from. We got called out. We got a call from YC. We got national recognition from DIPP. We got to be a part of UAE India Exchange Summit. We were the only company to be fully sponsored by the French government for 3 years. All of that happened because consistently applying and telling the world about your problem. If you think, and this mindset is going to come at some point, if I tell everyone my idea, what if somebody takes it away? All of you have $1 billion idea. It's not the idea that's important, it's the execution. $1 billion idea har kisi ke paas. So never fear, talk to as many people as possible, speak out that this is what I'm doing. Because I could probably tell Abhishek and you'll be like, Acha, you know what, I know somebody who might be of help to you. And he will help you connect those dots. And that is how we've reached where we are. And then of course being very active in the community and reaching out to more and more people. So that is very important. So 3 things that you have to do in the early days, which probably one thing I'll add, which we didn't do, but now that I look back, I think I should have done, is make clear processes. Ho jayega, ye, wo, make a clear process. At least you should know if I'm putting 100 hours a week, what exactly am I getting out of that? Because it gets very overwhelming as a startup founder because you have so much things to do. Any minute that you are awake, you are probably doing something. But then you have to see what is the marginal output that you're getting out of that. So I think that is very important.
Okay, awesome. Nadeem, in your case, when you decided to start Hearty Mart in early days, what did you do?
So this was
तब तो ecosystem भी नहीं था, अभी तो ना government grant,
तब startup word भी नहीं था. So it's like बाबा आदम के ज़माने की बात. So this is 2002. I was working with an advertising company called Grey Worldwide, and I was sent on a deputation to Mumbai to work on a project of Reliance Infocom pitch. So there were other agencies who were invited. Mudra was Reliance in-house. Grey was outside agency. We were also invited. In Phoenix Mill compound, we had our head office, Patel में, Lower Patel में. उसके सामने there was a big bazaar. Now I was there for 1 month. So and I am a teetotaler. So I did not have anything else to do. So in Mumbai, so I would go to Big Bazaar. I would see the products. I would get inspired, or it was very impressive. I had never seen a retail of that scale. So I realized that अगर मुझे कुछ करना है तो मैं इसी सेक्टर में कुछ करूँ. Number 1. Number 2, I was 31. I always quote my age then. The reason being, 31 में I was not doing advertising. I had not reached to a level. So whenever I used to go to Bombay, my colleagues were 5 to 6 years younger to me. उनके bosses were 3 years younger to me, and I used to feel very embarrassed because I was sitting across them. So there was urge to have a career shift, right? Career move. I cannot survive in advertising beyond that. So when I returned, I started looking as a retail as an option. Now this was time when Adani supermarkets were everywhere. There were 54 Adani stores. I was looking for an area where Adani was not there, right? Because you just have to realize that जो भी पैसा था वो अपना सेविंग डालने वाला था. It was not funding. There was no funding as such there, right? So and how did I convince? So advertising में 2-3 साल निकाल कर MBA करके, and then now you want to start a किराना store. और उस टाइम पे किराना स्टोर मतलब आलू बेचने का दुकान. So what मतलब you are out of your mind. This is what people used to tell me, right? So I went to my family, community and friends. Now the investment was worth 62.5 lakhs. Why? Because I wanted to purchase the real estate. 62.5 lakhs then was a huge amount. I'm talking about 2004, right? So I said, okay, real estate cost. Now this was Vishala Circle, which was newly developing area at the outskirts of Juhapura. Real estate was going up. It was at the bottom. So I said कि अगर नहीं चलेगा, कुछ भी नहीं चलेगा तो आपका पैसा मैं आपको पूरा वापस दे दूँगा real estate बेचकर. So that convinced. So my family got convinced, community got convinced, and in 11 Feb 2004 we started Hearty Mart in Juhapura.
Okay. अभी वो 62.5 कितना होगा?
हाँ जी.
62.5 कितना होगा अभी? Market value?
अभी सब मिला के तो 100 करोड़.
That's 100 crore. Nice. Yes, Vikram. So you had an interesting story. Right? You already started something for doctors and everything, and then you kind of pivoted to the current model.
Correct.
How did that happen?
So for me, the clarity was not there. Okay, I'll answer it in 2 parts. First, how I started when I was in my 3rd year of college. So तब इतनी क्लैरिटी नहीं थी, ना इंडस्ट्री थी. इंडस्ट्री अलग है, इंजीनियर हूँ, मेडिकल इंडस्ट्री में कुछ नहीं पता था. जस्ट अ बैड एक्सपीरियंस फ्रॉम मी एंड माई को फाउंडर साइड. क्या ठीक है, कभी रिलेटिव के साथ गए एंड हैड अ वेरी पुअर एक्सपीरियंस इन हॉस्पिटल. लाइक क्या ठीक है, अब कुछ तो करना है. दैट वाज द ओनली आइडिया दैट वी हैड. लकीली एज एवरीवन सेड हियर, बात करो लोगों से, बहुत मजा आएगा. सो वन ऑफ आवर प्रोफेसर कनेक्टेड अस टू अ डायबिटोलॉजिस्ट इन इंदौर कि भाई जाके बात करो, ही माइट हेल्प यू आउट. तो वहाँ गए, बात किया, एंड देन वी रियलाइज कि ओके कूल, लाइक वी वांटेड टू टैकल अ प्रॉब्लम व्हिच इज वेरी नीश इन नेचर. कि पूरी हॉस्पिटल को बदलने में तो पागल हो जाएंगे, पर छोटा सा प्रॉब्लम है कि भाई लोगों को प्री डायबिटीज होने से बचाना है. एंड दैट्स हाउ वी स्टार्टेड. बट ड्यू टू लैक ऑफ नॉलेज, डेटा एंड एक्सपीरियंस, वी फिल द गैप by being on the site every single day, speaking to at least like 50 customers every day, speaking to doctors every day, sitting in the chamber, रात को आओ, कोड करो, प्रोडक्ट बनाओ, वापस जाओ. Same cycle for 6-8 months, and that will give you experience का जो gap बनता है ना, that you can bridge in initial days. This gives you validation, and अब तो यार तुम हफ्ते के अंदर पूरे प्रोडक्ट बना सकते हो. like with AI and everything else. So you folks can build and validate much faster than what I did back then in 2015. So like you folks should definitely take a leap and do it. That's number one. For DocVita, again, so I already had customers in medical industry, software was working. So the same customers pushed me, we want a video calling solution because COVID had hit and nobody had the infrastructure. We built it, we were a horizontal telemedicine platform similar to Tractor, Liberate back then. But then again, like we pivoted to mental health because like that was one area which nobody was explicitly working on very keenly in India at the moment, and COVID had many needs for mental health, and that's how we pivoted to this. So for me, customers have guided me through and through every step of the way.
Okay, awesome. And we have Abhishek with us. From Abhishek, I'll just extend the question that I asked them. Since we've done this event so many times, so you get the gist. So with Theka, like you done MBA, so one more MBA in the panel. From where?
EDI.
Okay.
EDI.
And then, so your story is very interesting, right? Theka was already existing, and you were engaged, you were associated in some form. Eventually became co-founder. How did that happen?
Post my masters, obviously, I had this one small. So I have been in F&B for the last almost 12 years now in Ahmedabad. Before Cloud Kitchen was a thing, we started one Cloud Kitchen back in 2013-14. That is still operational right now. So just had a interest, limited पैसे थे, तो जो भी कुछ थोड़ा बहुत हम कर सकते थे, we started doing that. Post our masters, I thought, at that time 2016-17 there was this cafe wave going on in Ahmedabad. Everybody wanted to open one. I don't know, for some reason what was happening. So I thought, okay, since I didn't have capital to open up myself, I thought let me sell shovel in the gold rush. I started one agency जो आपको जो भी चाहिए कैफे खोलने के लिए मैं सब provide करूँगा. Starting from branding, financing, recruitment, everything. So that's how I started. Work with a lot of brands. There's still a lot of them are doing very well even right now. During that period, I came in touch with my partner Patel. He had this idea कि coffee बेचना है. उनका idea सिर्फ इसलिए था कि पैसा कमाने के लिए. There was no other motive. पैसा कमाना है, coffee बेचना है. But थोड़ा अलग तरीके से, what we saw initially in the market was there was a gap between good coffee and affordable coffee. Ahmedabad mein, I'm sure you must be aware, there's Danish, ये legacy players कब से चले आ रहे हैं. But what they sell is actually not coffee. It's premixed powder, just blend it and send it, give it to you. Actual coffee was not affordable. Get at Barista, CCD or places like that. But that's $250-300. Coffee is a very popular beverage across the globe. In fact, the most popular beverage across the globe. Not the case here in India. So what we saw is दो चीजें हैं. एक तो affordability का बहुत ज़्यादा problem है. Second is how the product is placed or positioned is to eliminate 95% of the population. Right? A regular person cannot walk into a Starbucks because बाहर से इतना flashy, shiny दिखता है कि लगता है कुछ बहुत महंगा बिक रहा है अंदर. You go in, you see the menu, you're even more confused. Cappuccino, latte, क्या लिखा हुआ कुछ मालूम नहीं है. The person standing there not making your life any easier. He's asking you even trickier question. Venti, grande, large, क्या? We don't know what that means. You end up paying 350 rupees for a black coffee. जो कर दी है आपको कभी पता ही नहीं क्या होता है. So we thought let's try to understand who our consumer is. Strong coffee बेचनी है तो उसको अमेरिकाना बोलने की जगह पलंग तोड़ बोल दो. Serve it in a beer bottle. Gujarat में you have that sentiment lack of alcohol. So let's try to fill that gap. So we did a lot of things with things in mind where we connect to the audience. So his idea was product. I came up with all these things. So initially I was working just as a consulting partner. But COVID was difficult. It was, when I say difficult, it was massacre for us. We lost everything. Company went bust. But both of us had this like sheer belief, the product banana hai, which is great. We are the ones lacking. We have to correct ourselves. How do we do that? Let's work on that and keep going. We just need one propulsion, one push, which was Shark Tank. So Shark Tank season 1 we were there. and that gave us that propulsion that was required, and yeah, that was that. And since then we've not looked back. So I had a very good agency, very great thing going on, but my sheer belief on the product that we had created, I decided, okay, that can wait. I want to focus on building this.
Okay, awesome. और एक क्वेश्चन मैंने इनको पूछा था, आपके MBA टाइप से आप क्या सीखे कॉलेज में जो आज भी यूज हो रहा है?
Actually, I would resonate to the sentiment which I think has gone around is the networking. I think that was the only thing I've actually taken from. I think आप हमारे senior हैं, I'm not mistaken. You're from India. You're not, okay.
So उन्हें वो हर एक कॉलेज में he is a faculty. So he seems like a senior everywhere.
But it's again, I joined in 2014. That was long back. Even then, entrepreneurship particularly was not the cool word. And I got into IIM as well. I scored pretty decently on my CAT, and I got into one of the IIMs, one of the young ones. But instead, I chose EDI because it just entrepreneurship. तो मुझे समझ में आया कि अच्छा यहाँ कुछ धंधा करना सिखाते हैं. I'm from a service background. My family of lawyers and doctors. So I had absolutely no clue how to go about when you want to start a business. I thought might as well try it. Take them. सब लोग तो बोलते थे कि धंधा करना कोई कॉलेज में नहीं सीखता है ये वो, but मैंने तो सीखा. So I mean, for me it's a different case altogether.
आप रैंकर थे कॉलेज में के?
नहीं one yes was
मिस कर गए इस बार. Okay, we'll open up for questions. Anybody has any questions for that? Okay, lot of questions. So this will be fun. Can you pass on the microphone? जोर से बोलना सर.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
So, like, I have two questions. Like, one for Abhishek Acharya, sir. Like, you are the owner, like, co-founder of Theka Coffee. So, I also want to build a brand which is audience-based. Okay, so how can we feel audience like they are co-creative with us, not just attending it is as a consumer?
बहुत tricky सवाल है भाई. थी तो मतलब इसमें तो लोगों ने पता नहीं thesis लिखी होगी. How to make your audience feel a part of that they are co-creating. Wow, I knew about that. But यार बहुत मुझे तो ऐसा लगता है कि you just have to be very creative. There's one brand, the founder is from Ahmedabad, which I really like how they've done things. Is Freakins, if you know of. They sell denim. Yeah. So they have done something what you were talking about on great lines. उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा एक campaign किया था where they put up influencers on billboards across Bombay, if you know. अगर किसी ने notice किया है. Yeah. Great. So basically influencer marketing तो बहुत in है, right? Everybody has to do it. तो उन्होंने बोला कि हम पैसे तो दे नहीं सकते इन influencers को. Instead, they maximized what they were going to pay anybody. Instead they paid the billboard, right? एक influencer का भी सपना होता है billboard पे आओ. Influencer का हर किसी का होता है कि billboard पे हम लोग चढ़े. उन्होंने बोला तुम्हारी फोटो हम billboard पे डाल देंगे, तुम हमें content दे दो, right? So you just have to think on those lines. जो traditionally होता है कि influencer को पैसा दो, reel बनाएगा, आप उस reel को use करो, और फिर billboard भी buy करो. So दो खर्चे हैं versus you just have to think out of the box. So Freakins is one example which was great. In our case, we've just worked a lot on, like I said, nomenclature, branding, which resonates with the audience. We have some of the best user-generated content. Reason being, the bottle looks just so pretty. आप फोटो खींचना ही चाहते हो, right? और Instagram पे डालना ही चाहते हो. So if you want to do that, I think the marketing and the design is something that you have to work on majorly. Is my learning. बाकी I think there are some great people on the panel as well.
Okay. एक दूसरा रास्ता है कि provide very bad product, bad service. तो customer feedback आता है, उससे वो सीखना मिलेगा. उसको incorporate करो, बोले customer का idea है.
The second question for everyone, like how to scale a business without losing its identity, our brand's identity.
Okay. How to scale a business without losing mind?
Without losing mind.
First इनका आंसर दो. How to scale a business without losing the soul of the business with which you started? With CricHeroes you can mention.
Yeah. I can also answer some part of the first question you asked. So CricHeroes is a community company. From day one, we have tried to build a community around grassroots cricket. I think the way we have done it is, just being open for feedback, as Jatin ne bola, but by providing good service, not bad service. So yes, I think that was, like key, and it is still going today. So most of our team members, they are consumer facing, right? तो किसी ना किसी का number किसी like हजारों लोगों के पास होता है, right? So it has its pros and cons also. Pro ये है कि जब भी किसी को feedback देना है तो वो like या तो phone कर देंगे या तो WhatsApp पर message कर देंगे, and we keep getting, basically हमको सोचना नहीं पड़ता है कि next 6 महीने में क्या करना है, हमारे पास already list बहुत लंबा पड़ा है, right? लोगों का request आता है, right? So our product backlog is maintained by our customers, right? That is one. Second, उसका कौन ये है कि अगर आपका if CricHeroes goes down, right? किसी का भी phone बचता नहीं है, everybody is on phone, right? And like there are like hundreds and hundreds of phones, right? So that is the con. So you just need to make sure that you never go down, specifically when people are playing matches, right? So yeah, so that's how. But I think being open to community and for one more example I'll give is for the first maybe 3 or 4 years, my personal number was on our contact us page for customer support, right? So my number was the customer support number. I replied probably first 5,000 reviews on Play Store personally, just to understand कि लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं. So I think that's when you do that, automatically perception बन जाता है that this is a company which listens to us, and when that perception happens, automatically I think good things start happening.
How to scale without losing the mind, without losing the soul of the company.
Without losing the soul of the company, I think it's very difficult to be honest. हमारे केस में एक मोड आया है कि यार everybody loves the product, the company and all, but पैसा नहीं बन रहा है, right? So वो time पे we had to take a call which probably in which we lost some of the soul, but you will have to take certain tough calls. Hopefully वो करने के बाद आपका फिर वो direction वो होना चाहिए कि अभी चलो कोई बात नहीं, जो brand पे like थोड़ा बहुत tarnish हुआ है, how do you recuperate that by giving good service, right? But I think over the period of time you will have to make tough choices जहाँ पे थोड़ा बहुत आपको brand पे impact तो आएगा.
Okay, we'll take more questions. Thank you. You can pass on. और एक question Yes.
Hello. So I have a question for Vikram sir. So there were last year there was a company which provides almost a similar kind of service like DocVita, that is Mehta of USA. So they had a problem with the selling of their personal data for their customers. So the trust issue was right. So how do you build the trust with the customer that your data will be safe and we won't be selling it to the data brokers or anything? So that is a very important part for medical services. That's my question.
100% यार. So that is essentially built into the product itself. तो जैसे कस्टमर डेटा आप कब लेते हो, राइट? एक तो साइन अप करवाते हो तब लेते हो. मैं नाम पूछता हूँ, नंबर पूछता हूँ. नंबर वेरिफिकेशन उनके खुद के लिए होता है. लिखा हुआ है क्लियरली कि नहीं भेजेंगे किसी को. दूसरा, नाम पूरा ना भी लिखो, सिर्फ कैपिटल M लिख दो, S लिख दो, pseudonym लिख दो. Anything is fine by me. I don't ask you to identify yourself as a person like whatever your name is, right? Secondly, I don't, although I have my own video calling solutions and everything else, I still use Google Meet over anything else for privacy, क्योंकि जनता को पता है भाई कि Google Meet पे रिकॉर्ड होता है तो कैसे दिखता है. तो नहीं हो रहा है मतलब they know for a fact कि कुछ रिकॉर्ड नहीं हो रहा है. तो you take these decisions based on your own audience. तो जैसे मेरे पास सेलिब्रिटीज आते हैं, बाकी लोग आते हैं, वो भी थेरेपी लेते हैं. तो अब इन दो सिनेरियोज वी कांट से, और थोड़ा सा भी लीक होगा तो वी आर गॉन. एंड वो चीज़ करनी नहीं है, अदरवाइज तो मेंटल हेल्थ में काम करने का भी सेंस नहीं बनता. सेकेंड, डॉक्टर्स और थेरेपिस्ट जितने पार्टनर्स काम कर रहे हैं, यू ट्रेन देम, पुट चेक्स, डबल चेक्स इन प्लेस फॉर देयर एथिक्स एंड गाइडलाइंस कि ये चीज़ कभी ना हो इन अ सोशल कॉन्वर्सेशन एज वेल. भाई डेटा digitally is one part and data in a human's head is another part of it. Both the things you have to need to take care of.
Okay, awesome. Yes, can you pass on the mic? Nick. Am I audible?
So my greetings to the
Abhishek.
hello.
Yeah, yes.
My greetings to the prestigious and dynamic family. Sir, in this week I want to ask which brands like Theka or people speak about, which is not very much consumed in India, but we also have brands which are equal competitive in the market. So were you ever taken aback with the thought that it's a very skeptical thought once you've chosen your mind to step into building something with the risk that might fall with
You're not
Please
audible
speak
at all.
louder.
Hello.
Mic
हाँ.
पास में रख के.
नहीं, when you check, it is perfect. But then when you speak, you do this. Hello. हाँ, perfect.
Okay. Sir, I want to ask that we have brands from every aspect and from every sector. But as a speaker, I want to ask that we also have brand which is not very much consumed in India. Example, Theka coffee. But we also have brands which are equal competitors in the market. The beauty brand, for example, or the Mart brand. Like we have equal competitors. So were you ever taken aback with the thought that it's a skeptical thought, right? So the risks are also.
So your question is around competition. When there is a lot of competition, how do you deal with that? Is that the question? Okay. Who has a lot of competition?
I think he wanted to ask you about tech.
You can answer. I will.
नहीं, his point was Theka का competition कम है क्योंकि as a coffee वाला market वो पहचान है. But beauty वाला competition ज़्यादा है.
Yeah, go ahead.
So see, competition are always going to be there. That's part and parcel and learning and the fun of the business के competition है. अकेले रेस खेल के तो कोई भी जीत सकता है. ठीक है. So competition is very much needed. B, it is very much important that you are obsessed with your customers and not your competitors. While having your competitors on your radar, you have to be a step ahead and be very honest to what you are providing. For us, we have two competitive brands. Okay, one is a brand, I'm sure all of you must have heard, Dyson. They sell ₹500,000 hair dryer in India. Even if I can afford it, I would not be comfortable being an Indian consumer who values every penny I spend to spend that kind of amount on a hair dryer. So my positioning of being premium yet attainable is very clear and we communicate the same thing without thinking कि अच्छा Dyson का थोड़ा premium लगता है तो लोग जाके Dyson खरीदेंगे. On the other hand, there are players from China जो 2000 का भी hair dryer बेचते हैं. We sell it for 18,000 rupees. ठीक है, it's a hair multi-styler. But then our strategy and our ethos are very clear that we do not want to be a discounting brand. We do not want to be a flimsing product brand. We are building a brand that lasts for generation and even an upcoming generation can use. So those kind of fundamentals of business is very important. And how I often say that before you go and chase a funding, you fix your fundamentals. So your fundamentals, customer obsession over being obsessed with your competitors while having your competitors on the radar and being little bit agile and more speed on when it comes to executing without being demotivated. ठीक है, कभी-कभी हो जाओगे demotivated कि अरे मेरे पहले उसने launch कर दिया. But then you bring other product even before or faster than them and focus on the innovation that you are bringing. And that's exactly what we are doing at Protouch. We have some of the very smart founders who can also share their
So
inputs.
I'll just add to one thing. Competition, as she has rightly said, is very important and it is there. Unless you are launching a product which is a new product, you will not find a competition. Number one. So first thing, competition को आप best कैसे use करोगे? First, try to figure out which is your competition. Suppose if you are in bakery, your competition is Starbucks or a local bakery, right? That would give you an idea to come up with your 4 P's. Product में आप क्या डालोगे? Price में क्या डालोगे? और कैसे उसको प्रमोट करोगे? Placement तो आपका खुद का होगा, right? So you have to follow the footsteps of the competition, which is number 1, and try to be number 2, close number 2. That helps for a startup, and also try to figure out point of differences. कि ये product में ये 4 product हैं, I will add 3 more products and I will be very different from the competition. That really helps, and it has helped me also in my business, and it helps. It definitely helps. So competition can try to make the best use of it rather than getting intimidated. You have to make the best use of, right?
Thank you, sir. And sir, one last question. I would like to ask the entire panel, what is more advisable? Creating a business which solves a larger problem because that will always attract customers, or creating something which is very new and that will always attract customers?
One person will respond. Who do you think is smart enough to answer well?
Because he created something which is not very famous.
Abhishek,
Sorry, question क्या था?
Sir, what is more advisable? Should we create create brand which solves larger problem statement because that already has existing customers, or create something entirely new because that will again attract new customers?
Again, there's no one right answer to this. I mean, quite honestly.
Your opinion on that?
Yes, my opinion is very simple and radical. Make money. Whatever makes you more money, I think that's where you should go. I mean, see, I'm selling coffee. I'm not solving any big problem, to be quite honest. I never claim I'm solving a problem. I'm selling coffee, which makes me good, healthy margins, and that's where my focus is at, right? Solving problems, ये बहुत ही cool word हो गया है आजकल. हर कोई थोड़ी सी भी चीज कर रहा है वो बोलते हैं I'm solving problem. Elon Musk is solving problem. He's sending it to Mars, right? None of us are solving problems. We are in a heavy consumer market. There are things that are being consumed. Competition की आपने बात की. There's like 150 odd people. If you check, सबने shirts कपड़े पहने हुए, right? हर किसी का ब्रांड अलग होगा. तो 130 ब्रांड, 150 ब्रांड तो यहीं पे इसी रूम में चल रहे हैं, right? So everybody has a market. India is a big market. You will eventually find your audience. It's again, if you ask my perspective, it's very simple. Whatever makes me the most money, I think I'm willing to do that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Can you pass me the mic? Joseph. वो बॉलीवुड सिंगर हिमेश रेशम है, पता है वो कैसे करते हैं?
मेरे को शाउट You can come here and ask.
जोर से
आगे आ जाओ.
आपकी आवाज आ रही थी हमें, बोले. हाँ हाँ बोले. नहीं प्लीज
आगे आना
आपको आगे आना है मेरी.
नहीं आप किसी और somebody from this side to speak.
हाँ ये this should.
नहीं आप चल के इधर आ गए.
ये take this.
5 मिनट चले गए. आप पूछिए, जोर से पूछिए.
Sir, my question is, like, if you are the investors, in which upcoming businesses would you like to invest, and what are the factors would you suggest that we could build on future opportunities and upcoming trends?
Who should answer this?
Sir, you.
अच्छा हाँ, अगर if I am the investors, I will invest in a business which doesn't make sense at this point in time, but which has a potential in future. तो ऐसा बिजनेस जो बहुत बड़ा मार्केट हो सकता है, जैसा मैंने eChai में 2009 में किया था. स्टार्टअप को इकट्ठा करना भी पूरी दुनिया काम कर रही है, मैं उस काम में लेकिन मैं थोड़ा आगे हूँ. तो वैसी अपॉर्चुनिटीज कौन सी होगी 2030-35 में, कौन सी अपॉर्चुनिटीज आएगी? एक तो ये टाइप का अपॉर्चुनिटीज, एक दूसरा टाइप का अपॉर्चुनिटीज यहाँ पे इंडिविजुअल इज सो पैशनेट अबाउट सॉल्विंग फॉर समथिंग, whether that makes a business sense or not, but somebody individual is passionate, तो वो डायरेक्शन में अप्रोच करूँगा कि कोई इंडिविजुअल बहुत ही पागल इस आइडिया के लिए, और या तो ऐसी चीज को अप्रोच करूँगा जो इसका बहुत बड़ा पोटेंशियल मार्केट हो, तो अगर थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे भी हो जाता है तो मार्केट का मोमेंटम उसको आगे लेके जाता है. तो ये दो डायरेक्शन में मैं थोड़ा सोचूंगा अगर मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट करने का सोचूंगा तो. थैंक यू.
What do you think the future opportunities are that we can build upon?
हाँ तो आप बोलो ना, या तो किसी एक आइडिया के लिए पागल हो जाओ, या तो बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी पे पीछे भागो. दैट इज माय एडवाइस एंड रिकमेंडेशन. अच्छा आंसर है तो रिटर्न किया.
सर, ऐसा आप लोगों ने इतने बड़े ब्रांड्स बनाए हैं, तो जब से आपने शुरुआत की तो आपको बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस फेस करने पड़े होंगे एज ऑलवेज. तो आप उससे क्या सीखे और अपने आप क्या शेयर करना चाहेंगे उससे, प्लस आप जो अभी फेस कर रहे हो करंट चैलेंजेस, उससे आप क्या सीखना ये एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं, वो भी अगर आप शेयर करना चाहें आप सबके साथ.
ओके जैनम, आप कुछ बताओ कि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की लाइफ में क्या चैलेंज सीखे और क्या अप्लाई कर रहे हो अभी जाके?
So I think one of the biggest challenge as a founder that you're going to get at some point is, no matter how many things you sort out, there will always be something that you will have to sort out. ठीक है, रोज सुबह तुझे आज का दिन सॉर्टेड है, परफेक्ट है, कैलेंडर 1 2 3 4 5, कुछ तो आएगा कि अरे सर मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, कुछ तो आएगा ही. So I think it is not the challenge. Challenges are always going to be there, but it's how you deal with them. How you deal with these challenges. For example, in my case, what we've been able to do is empower enough to take up those challenges, try it out. अगर नहीं होता है तो at least when it only escalates, that is when it goes to the next person. But this way, everybody gets that sense of ownership and accountability. And I think इसका एक बहुत अच्छा example because all of you are still in the first year, second year of college. I think the best example of this is Frito-Lays, right? जो अपना Lays आता है, right? उसकी जो CEO थे, he said this. He told this to everyone on a public platform that every one of you is the owner of the company. Think like a CEO. A janitor जो कचरा पोतो करता है ना, वो janitor ने वो चीज को seriously लिया that the flaming hot Cheetos that you have today came out from an idea of somebody who was just a janitor at Frito-Lays, and look at what nachos and Doritos are doing today.
Okay. मेरे जो challenges हैं मैं उसे एक ही चीज सीखा कि मेहनत ज़्यादा करो. वही solution है. हैक नहीं मिलेगा, आपको मेहनत ज़्यादा करनी पड़ेगी. Yes, someone. अच्छा माइक सिर्फ उनका नहीं चल रहा था, पूरा माइक खराब हो गया क्या? हाँ.
तो he has a mic.
हाँ. अच्छा ये ले लो, ये वाला दो. तो हाँ, तो आप क्वेश्चन पूछो. कुछ तो होगा ना भाई, तुमको भी क्वेश्चन तो होगा.
Good afternoon, everyone. Starting this side. My question is from NAP actually. Fashion industry and beauty industry is a very big, huge industry. So, what is the particular tips to run a successful brand in fashion industry?
What is the particular what?
Particular tips like only for the fashion industry and beauty industry.
Tips to run a beauty and fashion brand.
To make a successful brand, not like consistent and doing that. This is the thing, not that.
कुछ अलग बोलो.
कुछ अलग बोलो. Pro tip, that's a segment on the website.
ऐसा मत बोलो, मेहनत करना है वो सब.
No, see, first of all, you'll have to understand who is your customer and where are you going to meet your customer. As I said, कि तुम्हारा customer luxury वाला है, premium वाला है, कि mass वाला है. तीनों में brand बनते हैं, तीनों में product बिकते हैं. तुमको क्या करना है? That has to be defined, and that should speak and reflect into everything you do in the ecosystem of your business. ठीक है? If you are building a luxury brand, then and you, I think your question is more towards fashion, right? Not beauty. I run a beauty brand. Okay, so if you are, let's say, I'll give you an example of fashion. So if you are building a fashion luxury brand, you would rather want to talk more about, the customer perception of the kind of yarn, material, structure you are using. If you are connecting with a premium level customer, then talk to them in a way that, okay, this is what you are aspiring, but this is now available at a certain price, and maybe the origin of it. And if you are, let's say, dealing with a mass consumer, then communicate on discounts. So it is very important कि आप क्या बेच रहे हो वो आपको पता है, आप किसको बेच रहे हो वो आपको पता है. Not everyone would be your customer, and it is very important to say no कि भाई इसको मुझे नहीं बेचना है. You can easily discount your brand and sell it to everybody and anybody, but is it your customer that you want to keep for the long term? So I think that's the biggest learning I had. Apart from that, to build a fashion and beauty brand, I'd say focus on the community building. However, it is a buzzword. सबको community बनाना है, किसी का बन नहीं रहा है. ठीक है? And that's a realistic picture right now. So make sure whatever first 100-150 consumers you have. As a founder, you should speak to your first 100-150 customers. They will tell you what you are doing wrong and what you are doing right, and you will get a understanding for next 2 years कि क्या करना है और क्या अगले साल के goals हैं मेरे. So yeah, talk to your customer, build a right ecosystem, clear your fundamentals, and you yourself will be able to answer your question better. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you everyone.
और मेरे से पूछो एक टिप तो Google सर्च करना सीखो और ईमेल करना सोचो.
And ChatGPT now. ChatGPT.
अच्छा, I'll have one question, then we'll come back to all the questions for everyone. So you studied, you have industry experience, you have startup founder experience. So considering that experience as a context, if you were to take up a management education today, and you have path के 2 साल का management education है, and आगे I may want to start something. So how would you approach those 2 years of yours in a management college? अभिषेक, इस पॉइंट पे अगर 2 साल कॉलेज में MBA करने का आ गया, तो how would you approach your 2 years of management college? Considering your current experiences and everything.
Current experiences, I think there is a great hack that's going on in the market. Focus on the financing, finance जो subject है उस पे काफी focus करो 2 साल. Join a VC firm as an associate. Or a private equity as an associate for 2 years. climb the ladders, network very well, and then start out something by yourself while looking at what's hot in the market. I think that's an absolute hack which I've seen in the market. So if I was at an MBA college right now, this is what I would do.
This is very Vikram.
So for me per se, like I would still say कि यार अगर MBA कर रहे हो, मैंने किया नहीं है by the way, so take it with a pinch of salt. But यार दो तीन चीजें ना सीखने काफी मिलती है. So in the curriculum you have a very rigorous curriculum. I hope like it's very much engaging also. But यार go with wholeheartedly in it. मतलब दिन में 4-5 घंटे सो 6 घंटे सो करते हैं.
You are not suggesting आप खुद क्या करते हैं अभी?
मैं वही करता नहीं क्या मैं वही 4 घंटे सोता, कैंपस में सबसे बातें करता, मजे करता, enjoy 4 years of your life, build good connections और बेशर्मी सीख लो. बेचना है तो बेशर्मी चाहिए. You shouldn't be ashamed or shy about asking anyone for advice, help, or even though you want to sell something to them, वो हिचकिचाहट हटा दो बस. ये 2 साल में ये कर लोगे ना, मैं ये करता और उसके बाद मेरा काम तो हो जाता है.
Okay, nice. Very good.
So MBA education has changed a lot from when I did, right? So I don't know currently how it was, but I will say what I would do. So first thing, I would focus more on internships than classes. Classes में I might learn jargons. Internships में it is on the job training. So one. Number two, I would try to gain skill set which is beyond my academics. So for example, today data, people talk about data crunching. AI का इतना हो, अगर वो नहीं है क्लास में, अगर करिकुलम में, I might go to classes and learn that. So by the time I am out, I will be experienced enough to choose my industry, plus equipped enough to run the industry.
Okay, nice. Very good. There's a lot of interesting ideas for Jainam.
Mine is, see, MBA there are going to be a lot of case studies, but most of the case studies जो होती है क्लास में, वो बहुत ऐसे 2014-15 टाइप से, ठीक है, 2024 में बहुत अलग प्रॉब्लम. My idea would be probably, if I had the chance, I would want to reach out to at least a few companies in the domain of my interest and ask them कि भाई what is that challenge that you guys are facing, and लोगों को बहुत अच्छा लगता है ऐसे ज्ञान देना. I would talk to them, try to solve those problems so that 2 साल के बाद जब मैं निकल रहा हूँ, I am a lot more relevant than, you know, based on just a case study that I learned in class based on 2014-15. So one is that. The second thing which I agree 100% with sir is internships and building that network, right? Because how are you going to differentiate in a class of 130 people? All of you are going to sit in the, I mean, I'm not just saying entrepreneurship, okay? I'm saying startup karo, job karo, kuch bhi. How are you going to differentiate in that placement interview when all of you are going to be part of the same GD, same GE, वही PI, सबका same 10-15 सवाल है. How are you going to stand out in that crowd? So my 2 years would have been focused on exactly or where exactly do I want to, you know, give myself that extra mile, the edge of being an extra mile. I don't know if I would do a company again or if I would take up a job or as I said, best case, IB investment banking में घुस जाओ. I don't know. But at least, and it's fine if I don't know, but I would still want to be जितना मेरे को जानने को मिल रहा है relevant. I would try to stay relevant. I think in one word it would be just trying to stay relevant.
Okay, awesome. Abhishek, थोड़ा fancy out of the box idea बताओ.
Make friends, play sports, and build projects.
Yeah.
I think that's.
I am very closer to that answer. Yes, Tanisha.
No, sure. To so everyone said कि networks बनाओ, go talk to people. So I think we are all trying to say exposure in soft skill, which is beyond your books. That is very much important. So I would definitely focus on that, and I would never be afraid to be alone. इस एज में क्या होता है, मतलब it's okay. If I go back to college, I would always want to do things that my friends are doing. But I am a solo founder in a company, right? So I would never be afraid of being alone in my campus. And if I would have an idea, I find conviction of it within the idea and within myself, I would start it in the campus, in the event, right there in itself, and I would test it.
अगर मैं अभी कॉलेज में जाऊँ तो मैं क्या करूँ? एक तो मेक फ्रेंड्स, दूसरा आई विल ट्राई टू क्रिएट समथिंग व्हिच एज अ लेगेसी टू इट. एक बोल सकते मैंने कॉलेज में चालू करा पूरी दुनिया में है, या कॉलेज में ऐसा वो जो कम्युनिटी चालू हुआ वो मैंने चालू करी थी. सो थोड़ा लेगेसी वाला कुछ तो करता कि वेदर इट इज कुछ ऐसा इवेंट फॉर्मेट कॉलेज में हुआ या कॉलेज ने आके आंदोलन जैसा चालू किया, बट समथिंग व्हिच हैज अ लेगेसी एलिमेंट टू इट. that is what I may try to do. Some people have raised hand. It's 11:30, right? So we have to.
So
one
one or
or
two
two
questions.
Huh?
If you can take one or two questions.
We take one or two questions. Those who can speak louder, they can speak. Yes, ma'am. Or those who have mic.
Speak louder.
Hello sir, hello ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello sir, hello ma'am. My name is and I have a question for Tanisha ma'am. Actually आपको बहुत सारी difficulties आई थी क्योंकि product design करने में, तो आपने उन चीज़ों को कैसे face किया और how did you get your first 50 customers?
Okay, so see, difficulties, as I said, it's part and parcel. वो रोज है, and that's the fun of it. So वो रोज आने ही वाली है, be it product designing, be it marketing, be it sales, be it finance, सब जगह पे difficulties आने वाली है, and that's the fun of it. For my specific brand to design a product or maybe to even launch a product is to mold a large setup. LED treatment के जो setups थे, because LED was my first product, LED hair comb, was available in India only in the larger setup, be it at a salons or be it at a clinic. So to make a design which was more functional for everyday use and to make a design which is very handy for everyone to not just hold it in their hand and use it in their hair was the key insight. And we did a lot of brainstorm, we go and speak with a lot of engineers, we outsourced our product R&D for that, and we tried to connect with the right set of people, communicated with them, and we had our first design after let's say 3 trials. And another quick insight I'd like to give you is about our hair styler. Okay, it's, which is a hair multi-styler, and the only inspiration in the market was a Dyson, which is a straight hair dryer, and there was no unique feature with the product, and we wanted to sell the product as a dryer and styler. So a lot of R&D was happening. We took 18 months to come up with a design, and the simple solution was just इसमें twist add कर दो, वो dryer बन जाएगा. You don't need to specifically design a right kind of an attachment. But it took us 9 months to come up with that idea कि अच्छा इसमें सिर्फ एक twist add कर सकते हैं, हम engineering में वो कैसे set होगा वो एक product feature. So brainstorm, sit with your problem, you'll understand, you'll be able to educate your product better when you have done everything yourself. Second question was,
How did you get your first 50 customers?
how did I get my first 50 customers? So I was doing offline exhibitions. So I launched my brand online in January 2022. I had my product ready in mid-October 2021. So from October to December, I was a part of every exhibition happening in Ahmedabad. I would go there by myself, talk to my consumer. And I also had some connect in the industry because of my past experience. So I sent my product to everybody that I had worked with in the past to just test. And I also knew some influencers, so I just asked them, would you please try my product and tell me your feedback, how can I improve it? So those were my first users, influencers and industry connects, and the actual customers who bought my product and who still comes on my website and buy my product, like the first 50 and 100 customers, I met them personally on an offline exhibition and I educated about my product to them myself.
We take the last question from the audience. Yes, sir.
So good afternoon, sir. My question
आपको ही मौका मिलेगा.
Hello sir. So my question is from Abhishek sir. Like as you told sir that during the phase of COVID and like your company was burst out. So as a co-founder, what was your first mindset that you could have built the company from the zero to like again to that position where before COVID you were there?
The mindset was pretty clear. I mean, we don't know anything else. What else are we going to do?
What if Shark Tank would not be there, then what would you do?
So I would still be doing this, to be quite honest. We had few ideas how we want to scale the business. During COVID, obviously it was difficult, but then what keeps you going is your belief about the product. What you have developed, you have that belief. आपने इतना टाइम बिताया है, उससे पहले जब things were great, you know that the consumer was accepting your product, they are liking your product. So eventually you understand that there is something, there is a potential in the product which eventually get you there, right? Every day it's not going to be easy, obviously, not just COVID. Even today there are days when things get pretty difficult, but you just have to go to bed thinking that tomorrow is the day when I conquer the world. You keep telling yourself, and I actually did. सिर्फ foolingly deep, I'm pretty straightforward with my answers, but this is actually the belief which got us through. Every night I would go to bed thinking that tomorrow is the day I become a billionaire, right? So that would keep me going. If it didn't happen, then I tell the same thing to myself that night as well.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it. You have to have the belief. That's all.
आप ऐसा क्वेश्चन पूछो जिसका आंसर हाँ या ना में आ सकता नहीं आप बैठ जोर से बोलो
जोर से बोल दो
Good afternoon, panels. My question is very simple. I want to ask, how do you validate any business idea before launching any product?
Okay. Abhishek had a very good answer for this.
How do you validate? Exactly how.
You are recommended a book.
Acha, the traction.
Traction and the mom test.
Yeah. So there are a lot of ways you can do it. The way we did was solving the problem for ourselves, right? We ourselves as cricketers, I realized the gap in the market and which nobody was solving it, and I thought that I will be the best person to solve it. So that's how we created the product. So according to me, the best way to solve the problem is solve your own problem, because you will be your first consumer, right? अगर आप अपने लिए solve कर पाओगे तो hopefully you will find few more people like you. So that's how I see it. But what Jatin is saying is there's a book called Traction, which is if you are also figuring out how to distribute or figuring out distribution channels. So there are I think about 20 something distribution channels which are standard distribution channels. But it's good to read those channels and see the examples of how other companies have used those distribution channels to scale. But yeah, that is I think slightly later in stage. Once you have a product market fit, how do you scale your idea to further? For at that time, such books can help.
There is a book, The Mom Test, which is very popular. How to validate an idea. It's an insane book. कोई भी कुछ बोलेगा तो उसमें जो लिखा है वो सबसेट ही होगा उसी का. Okay, I want to do. आप एक दो लाइन में आंसर देना. एक तो just to take a clue from what he has asked. आप अगर फाउंडर नहीं होते तो आपका करियर आप क्या करते होंगे अभी आप मार्केटिंग मैनेजर होते कहीं पे अभी आपका करियर आप क्या होता अभी अगर आप फाउंडर नहीं होते? CEO. Nice.
I mean, in terms of profession, I am always fascinated by advertising industry. I feel that, even though I am an engineer, but probably I will be somewhere over there.
Okay. Jainam?
I think founder, no founder, deep down I am a salesman. I will always be a salesman.
Okay. Then position क्या होगी? VP गुजरात में कैसा?
VP sales.
VP sales. हाँ. VP से नीचे तो नहीं हो सकता.
I would have been a professor.
Professor.
Yes.
Nice.
Probably head of R&D in any deep tech company.
Okay, head of R&D. Nice. Abhishek.
I would do something with something to do with sports actually. I would have been a professional sports player. So CricHeroes में 10,000 run play
मैं मार्केटिंग मैनेजर होता. अच्छा एक तो होता है कि we are here, we want to share our experiences, we want to be nice, but अब रियल लाइफ में जाओगे तो people are ruthless. आपसे कुछ काम नहीं होगा तो आपको कुछ बुलाएगा भी. And I believe same you will do also, right? सामने से benefit नहीं होता तो नहीं करोगे. So one of the things that we want, all of us are encouraging is to have folks who are students to get exposure to the high growth startups or something. वो 6 महीने वाला internship नहीं, कई बार 2 दिन वाला भी contribute कर ही सकते हो. Something that a company does. So ऐसा student में outlook या skill set कौन सा होना चाहिए कि वो एक दिन का भी internship वर्ड नहीं है, पर एक दिन भी आए कि यार मुझे आपकी कंपनी में आना है, मैं कुछ contribute कर सकता हूँ. तो outlook क्या होना चाहिए, skill set क्या होना चाहिए. कि कोई बोले I am sir very inspired by what you said. कल मेरे पास 4 घंटे आपकी कंपनी में कुछ contribute करना चाहता हूँ. So what is it that उनको होना चाहिए कि आप बोले ठीक है तो आ जाइए ऑफिस रिसर्च कर. But what is the outlook that student should have?
For me, I think if somebody is an absolute cynic, I would love to sit with them for a few hours, few days. Ask me just the most randomest question. Be as absolutely brutal about what I am doing. If some of you have got that kind of outlook, I would love to sit with them.
तो अभी ये सपोर्ट करने वाला नहीं है. You are ruthless. जब ये होगा तो मैं बात करूँगा वरना कुछ नहीं करूँगा.
यार तो अगर प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करनी आती है और सही में आती है, नॉट बुलशिटिंग अबाउट इट, राइट, तभी होएगा, वरना पहली 5 मिनट में अपना हो जाएगा भैया.
प्रोटेस्ट कैसे करोगे कि आती है?
So very simple, like on that day what problem I am solving, I'll give you a part of it. Whether you are able to approach it the right way or not, that's within that 5 minutes. Blink judgment, that's all.
Okay. अच्छा मैं मेरा आंसर देता हूँ अभी फॉर मुझे सिर्फ अहमदाबाद कोई 100 ऐसी कंपनी का लिस्ट दे दो जिन्होंने $1 मिलियन से ज़्यादा फंड रेज करा है बस वो लिस्ट बना के दे दो बस then I'll open up opportunities at what eChai can do for me.
So I would like to spend time with a college student who knows my company better than me. So when he approaches me, he should know everything. आप क्या करते हो करके अगर वो पूछता है, तो I might not give him an order because then it's a waste of time.
बाकी इवेंट में सब डिस्कशन नहीं होता थे कॉलेज वाले इवेंट में ऐसा डिस्कशन so this is nice.
I think mine is थोड़ा देसी but mine is very simple wheel over skill. अगर तुम्हें वो कीड़ा है like you know that मेरे को कुछ करना है, मेरे को पता नहीं है क्या लेकिन मेरे को कुछ करना है, so I think that is a very good thing because then you can do anything. मेरे पास जो भी एक existing challenge होगा I can give that to you provided you have that zest कि यार मेरे को कुछ करना है.
नहीं how do you taste that? तो पता कैसे चलेगा कि सामने वाला बोलेगा नहीं मैं एक्साइटेड हूं मैं घर पे जाके कॉलेज में ऐसा
how you I think very standard is how you appear in that interview, how prepared you are, कितना तुम enthusiasm लेके आए अगर हाँ sir ऐसे you know broken shoulders it's your body language gives away if you are not enthusiastic I think.
Okay. Abhishek,
I'll go with Nadeem bhai's answer. I really hate when in interviews people say कि अच्छा मैंने ऐप डाउनलोड नहीं किया या मैंने आपका वेबसाइट देखा इतना मुझे पता है you know I mean you know it really pisses me off. So definitely that is the main criteria.
But real inside अभी आ रही है.
So of course passion, but grounding in passion, not a superficial passion. So you know there is this. I see people sometimes appears in an interview and they would be like कि मैंने 2 कंपनी में काम किया है तो अब मुझे सब आता है. That's not the fact. मुझे आज भी कुछ नहीं आता है. I'm learning every day. So that is there. And in my company, the basic rule before hiring anybody is give them a live task. Whatever profile they are appearing for, even for an internship, I would give them a 30-minute task and then only we will take the profile ahead. And third would be why I would not have a person in my team who asks me for how many chuttis you give. It's a reject there and then.
Okay, awesome. On that note, thank you so much.
I also have an ask on this occasion. First, thank you all of you guys for sharing your experiences very candidly with the students, and I hope somebody, even one of them are even if moved by that and if they get an entrepreneurial approach in life because of this conversation, I think this will be all worth it. One ask that I have from you guys is that you have experienced what kind of experience and real life conversations you can get, insights you can get. But this is just not, again, you're not limited to an Genesis or your classroom. Fortunately, and I always feel blessed that eChai is based out of Ahmedabad, and Jatin is there in most of the sessions, and there are interesting conversations that are happening in Ahmedabad at different corners of Ahmedabad. If you can just show the eChai event page. There are a lot of conversation Ahmedabad में भी होगी या अगर आप जयपुर से हो तो जयपुर में होगी, बैंगलोर से हो तो बैंगलोर में होगी, and at different places. What I request you is instead of spending Saturdays sleeping or doing anything else apart from project work, मैं बोलूँगा find out some time and go and attend these events because there are you'll meet a lot of people, understand their point of view in life, and your knowledge will not be and your exposure will not be limited to what you are doing in the classroom or the project. It's my humble request to you guys to spend your weekends, and usually these Fridays and Saturdays are the cases. You'll have demo days, you have marketing mixers, you have AI conversations going on. So relevance वाली जो बात कर रहे थे, you'll find the relevant conversations happening even beyond your classroom. So don't just take NBS as your platform to learn. Take Ahmedabad as a platform to learn out of the things that you're here for. गुजरात वैसे भी popular है धंधे के लिए, वो जो spirit है, वो आपको दिख जाएगी when you go and listen to this conversation. So that is my humble request from every one of you that try to figure out time and attend those events, not just कि जब eChai यहाँ आएगी तभी हमें करना है. So that's also proactiveness that I'm requesting all of you guys to get into. And with that note, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
That was very insightful, real, practical experiences. Yes? Round of applause for the panel. And we are fortunate enough to have all of them over here. Yes, sir, our heartfelt gratitude from Narayana Business School. And to do the honor, I would like to invite on stage Professor Shrijay Gupta. to felicitate Abhishek sir. Hearty.